At this very moment, a version of you is already living the consequences of decisions you haven't even made yet. The work of physicist Jean-Pierre Garnier Malet reveals that you exist simultaneously at different speeds of time. While you live second by second, your quantum double has already explored thousands of possible futures. That sudden, certain feeling that you shouldn't do something. It is a warning flare sent from your double, who has already lived through the disastrous outcome. The irresistible impulse to revolutionize your life comes from them, having experienced the dead end that you still cannot see. You repeat the same mistakes as your parents because you ignore the warnings that arrive during the sanctuary of deep sleep. Every experience of déjà vu is you finally reaching a moment that your double has already lived and transmitted to you. If there is a version of you working day and night to map out the best paths, testing thousands of possibilities for your protection, why do you insist on ignoring the signs? This leads to a disturbing question: how many tragedies have you already avoided without knowing it, thanks to the silent warnings from your double? Someone is living your future consequences at this exact moment. French physicist Jean-Pierre Garnier Malet has mathematically proven that you exist simultaneously in at least two different temporal speeds, and the accelerated version of you is constantly attempting to send you information, to prevent you from making mistakes that it has already experienced. In 1988, Garnier Malet uncovered a principle that should have revolutionized our understanding of reality. Working with fluid mechanics, he developed equations demonstrating the unfolding of time and space. His theory, published by the American Institute of Physics between 1998 and 2006, reveals that time does not flow uniformly like a single river. It unfolds in layers that operate at radically different speeds. The discovery began as Garnier Malet investigated the movement of particles and fluids. He realized that to explain certain quantum behaviors, it was necessary to consider that particles existed in multiple temporal dimensions simultaneously. The mathematics only resolved when he introduced the concept of unfolding, the same particle living in timelines that flow at different velocities. According to the theory of unfolding, while you live your life at this moment, perceiving time in a linear fashion, second after second, day after day, there exists a double of you living in an imperceptible time, billions of times faster than your own. To be clearer, this parallel version of you operates within an incredibly short time frame, so small we can barely measure it. Between these rhythms, there are temporal openings, extremely brief instances in which your double, moving in an accelerated time that seems normal to them, can exchange information with our slow time. This double is you, operating at a temporal speed so accelerated that it manages to explore thousands of possibilities in the time you blink. When you are considering an important decision, accepting a job, ending a relationship, moving to another city, your double has already explored all of these possibilities. They have already lived the consequences, experienced the results, and mapped out the paths. The exchange of information between you and your double happens through these temporal openings. These openings occur mainly during REM sleep, those moments when the brain is highly active, but the body remains paralyzed. During these intervals, lasting fractions of a second in our time but representing vast periods in accelerated time, information flows from the double to ordinary consciousness. This is why so many scientific discoveries have occurred during sleep. Mendeleev saw the complete periodic table in a dream. Kekulé discovered the structure of benzene after dreaming of a serpent biting its own tail. Tesla claimed to receive his inventions fully formed during states of deep relaxation. It was the double transmitting solutions it had already tested at an accelerated speed. Garnier Malet demonstrated that this communication also occurs during moments of deep relaxation throughout the day. Those sudden insights that arise during a shower, while driving on a familiar road, or in meditative states are all moments when the barrier between timelines becomes more permeable. The rational mind, which operates in slow time, needs to quiet down so that information from fast time can emerge. The most revolutionary aspect of this discovery is this: your double isn't predicting the future, it is actively experiencing potential futures in accelerated real time. When you receive a powerful intuition not to take a certain path, not to make that trip, not to accept that proposal, it is your double transmitting the lived experience of that choice. They have already run through that situation thousands of times in different variations and are sending the consolidated result. The theory also explains why certain people seem to possess extraordinary luck or make consistently correct decisions. They have developed, consciously or not, a stronger connection with their double. They are more receptive to the information flowing from accelerated time. They trust those apparently irrational sensations that are, in fact, consolidated data from thousands of already lived experiences. Lucille Garnier Malet, Jean-Pierre's wife and co-author, documented hundreds of cases where people learned to consciously access this information, executives who made counterintuitive business decisions based on hunches and achieved extraordinary success, doctors who diagnosed rare conditions by following inexplicable intuitions, ordinary people who avoided fatal accidents by obeying sudden impulses to change their route. The mathematics behind the unfolding reveals something even deeper. The double not only explores potential futures but also constantly creates and modifies them based on the information you send through your thoughts and intentions. There is constant feedback between the two timelines. Your desires and concerns in slow time are processed and expanded in fast time, generating new scenarios that are tested instantaneously. This discovery has immediate, practical implications. Every time you ignore a strong intuition, you are discarding the result of thousands of simulations already performed. Every time you force a purely rational decision against a visceral feeling, you are choosing to operate with limited data when you could have access to complete information. If you are not aware of this reality, you are navigating through life with access to only a minimal fraction of the information available to you. Your double continues working, exploring, and testing, but the information is lost because you haven't developed the reception channels. It is like having a supercomputer processing vital data for your life, but with the monitor turned off. The time you experience now, this apparently constant flow of moments, is a particular construction of human consciousness. The perception that we are born, grow, age, and die creates the illusion that time exists as a straight line from past to future. But the universe operates in a completely different way. Garnier Malet demonstrated that time functions in an eternal present. Past, present, and future coexist simultaneously in different layers of reality. When you access a memory, you are not recovering something that has passed, you are tuning into a frequency that continues to exist on another temporal plane. When your double explores potential futures, it accesses realities that already exist, waiting to be chosen and manifested. Physicist Tom Campbell expanded on this with his virtual reality theory, published in My Big TOE, My Big Theory of Everything. Campbell's theory posits that our reality operates like a flawlessly rendered virtual reality, where true consciousness is the player, and the physical body is merely the avatar. His theory converges perfectly with Garnier Malet's discoveries. According to Campbell, who spent decades at the Monroe Institute researching altered states of consciousness, our true consciousness was never born and will never die. It simply switches characters to have new experiences, like a player finishing one level and starting another. The physical body you now inhabit is a temporary interface for interacting with this specific plane of reality. This understanding completely transforms the concept of the double. Garnier Malet's double is your true consciousness, the player operating outside the game's limits. While your avatar is bound by the rules of linear time, processing information sequentially, your true consciousness operates free from these limitations. It can see the entire board, test moves, go back, and experiment with different strategies simultaneously. The strange world of quantum physics echoes this nonlinear nature of time. At the quantum level, particles exist in superposition, occupying multiple states simultaneously until observed. The double-slit experiment demonstrates that an electron passes through both slits at the same time when unobserved. It only chooses a path when consciousness intervenes. Your double operates at this quantum level of reality where all possibilities coexist. It is not limited to exploring one future at a time, it navigates infinite probabilities simultaneously, collapsing them into specific information that can be transmitted to your ordinary consciousness. This is why an intuition can contain such precise and complex information condensed into an instantaneous sensation. The illusion of linear time is necessary for the human experience. Without it, there would be no learning, no growth, no evolution. You need to experience the consequences of your choices sequentially to extract wisdom. But this perceptual limitation does not define the fundamental nature of reality. Garnier Malet discovered that our consciousness, being a fragment of the universal whole, always maintains a connection to the totality. The double is that bridge. It is you, operating with full access to the matrix of possibilities, while your ordinary perception experiences only one line of that matrix at a time. This explains phenomena that defy conventional temporal logic, premonitions that come true with impossible precision, people who dream of future events in specific detail, documented cases of clairvoyance where information about distant places is accessed instantaneously. Linear time is a rule of the game, not a universal law. Neuroscience is beginning to confirm these discoveries. Benjamin Libet's experiments demonstrated that the brain initiates an action up to 10 seconds before a person becomes conscious of the decision to act. The brain already knows what will happen before ordinary consciousness processes the decision. This only makes sense if we consider that temporal communication is happening. The double has already processed the decision and sent the command before linear consciousness even perceives it. When you understand that time is not a prison but a tool of experience, your entire relationship with reality changes. Regrets about the past lose their power, those realities continue to exist and can be reframed. Anxieties about the future dissolve, potential futures are constantly adjusted based on your present choices. The double is yourself operating outside the temporal matrix. It is your true consciousness, free from the bonds of sequential time, constantly working to optimize your experience within the game. Every intuition, every premonition, every revealing dream is a message from this expanded version of you, trying to guide you along the path of least resistance through the labyrinth of possibilities. You are simultaneously creating and discovering your future. The double is not trapped in a predetermined destiny. It navigates through an ocean of potentials that constantly reorganize based on every thought, every decision, and every intention you manifest in ordinary time. When you ponder accepting that new job, your double is already working. While your conscious mind weighs pros and cons at linear speed, your double penetrates that possibility, experiences the work environment, experiments with colleague dynamics, feels the impact on your personal life, and maps the opportunities that will arise and the challenges you will face. All of this happens in Planck time, the smallest measurable fraction of time, completely imperceptible to your ordinary consciousness. Garnier Malet identified the precise mechanism of this communication. During REM sleep, when your brain waves oscillate between 4 and 7 Hz in the theta frequency, temporal windows open. Your physical body is motionless, but your consciousness unfolds, creating a bridge between the slow time you experience and the accelerated time where your double operates. In these temporal openings, condensed information from thousands of experiences flows from fast time to slow time. The process works through the exchange of light-based information. Your double, operating at superluminal speeds, processes and transmits data through photons carrying encoded information. This information arrives at your brain as patterns of quantum interference that are decoded into sensations, images, and insights. Thomas Edison, a master of invention, employed a specific technique to access this information. He would sit in an armchair holding metal balls over metal plates. As he dozed off, his muscles would relax, the balls would fall, and the sound would wake him at the exact moment of the temporal opening. He called this the genius gap. It was in this hypnagogic state that his inventions arrived fully formed. The mathematician Srimivasa Ramanujan claimed the goddess Namagiri showed him formulas in dreams. He would wake up and write them down, later discovering they were mathematically perfect, with some only being proven decades later. Ramanujan was describing in mystical language the same phenomenon Garnier Malet mapped scientifically, the transmission of information from the double through temporal openings. Communication does not happen only during sleep. Throughout the day, temporal micro-openings occur constantly. They are those moments you zone out for a fraction of a second, when your mind wanders during a repetitive task, or when you go on autopilot while driving a familiar route. In these intervals, lasting milliseconds in ordinary time but representing hours in accelerated time, your double injects information. Buddhist monks have known this for millennia. Vipassana meditation trains the ability to perceive these gaps between thoughts where information from the double can emerge. The more you can perceive these intervals, the more access you have to the information your double is constantly transmitting. There is a two-way street. Before sleeping, you can consciously send questions to your double. Garnier Malet developed a specific protocol: mentally formulate a clear, specific question, not as a problem but as a request for a solution. For example, show me the best path regarding. Works better than, what should I do about? Your double processes this question overnight, exploring hundreds of variations. The quality of the question determines the quality of the answer. Vague questions generate diffuse intuitions. Specific questions produce precise insights. This is why people who journal questions before sleep report a dramatic increase in creative solutions. Your emotional state directly interferes with the quality of communication. Fear, anxiety, and stress create static that distorts the transmission. This is why the worst decisions are made in states of panic. Communication with the double is blocked by emotional noise. Calm and confidence create clean channels. Alcohol and certain drugs temporarily block this communication. They may create the illusion of insights, but they are actually generating noise that prevents the real transmission. This is why decisions made under their influence are often disastrous. You are operating completely disconnected from your expanded information source. Conversely, intermittent fasting and certain breathing practices dramatically amplify communication. Holotropic breathwork, developed by Stanislav Grof, induces states where temporal openings expand. Shamanic practices using rhythmic breathing and drumming at specific frequencies, 4 to 7 Hz, matching theta waves, facilitate conscious access to the double. Your double does not predict the future. It navigates through potential futures that exist as quantum probabilities, choosing and transmitting information about the paths most aligned with your deep intentions. Every choice you make collapses some probabilities and opens others in a constant dance between the observer and the observed, between the player and the game. The first sign manifests as extremely vivid dreams that leave you disoriented upon waking. You open your eyes and, for a few seconds, cannot distinguish which reality is real. These dreams have a different quality, more intense colors, palpable physical sensations, and emotions that persist for hours. Garnier Malet explains that during these dreams, your consciousness is literally experiencing other timelines through the double. You are not dreaming about possibilities, you are experiencing them at accelerated speed. Recurring dreams amplify this. When the same scenario repeats night after night, your double is insisting on a crucial message. Pay special attention when you know things in the dream you do not know in waking life. You know names of people you've never seen or understand languages you don't speak. These are direct experiences of your double's expanded reality. The second sign manifests as sudden intuitions that arise out of nowhere with overwhelming force. You are driving and suddenly feel you must change your route immediately. There is no logical reason, but the sensation is so intense that ignoring it causes physical discomfort. Minutes later, you discover you avoided a serious accident. Your double already experienced that accident and transmitted the alert as an urgent intuition. These intuitions are complete and instantaneous. They come with intense physical sensations in the gut or chest. The more you try to rationalize them, the weaker they become. The linear mind cannot process the density of information compacted in the intuition, so it tries to dismantle it, destroying the message in the process. The third sign is the multiplication of synchronicities when you are aligned. You think of someone you haven't seen in years, and that person calls minutes later. You need specific information, and a book falls from a shelf, open to the exact page. Specific numbers appear repeatedly. Carl Jung, in collaboration with Nobel-winning physicist Wolfgang Pauli, studied these phenomena, concluding there is an acausal connecting principle at work. Garnier Malet provides the mechanical explanation: your double, operating at an accelerated speed, orchestrates these apparently casual encounters by manipulating probabilities. Synchronicities are physical confirmations that you are following the path already validated by your double. The fourth sign, déjà vu, has always defied conventional explanation. Neuroscience suggests it's a memory processing error, but this never clarifies why, during a déjà vu, you know exactly what will happen next. You know the next word someone will say, the gesture they will make. Garnier Malet offers the definitive answer: you are living a moment your double has already experienced and transmitted to you during sleep. Your brain instantly recognizes the previously received pattern. Frequent déjà vus indicate precise alignment with the path mapped by your double. A complete absence of déjà vu, on the other hand, suggests disconnection. You are consistently ignoring the guidance, navigating blind when you could have a map. The fifth sign happens when you awaken with complete solutions to complex problems. Auguste Kekele struggled for years to understand the molecular structure of benzene. Dozing by a fireplace, he saw fiery serpents biting their own tails. He awoke with the instant understanding that benzene had a circular structure, revolutionizing organic chemistry. During that brief nap, his double processed infinite molecular configurations and transmitted the answer symbolically. This works because during sleep, your double has full access to your questions without interference from your critical conscious mind. It tests thousands of variations, cross-references from completely different domains, and consolidates everything into a unique, elegant insight that emerges complete upon awakening. The sixth sign is the sudden and absolute change of direction in life. You wake up on an ordinary morning with an unshakable certainty that you must end a long-term relationship, refuse a can't-miss promotion, or return to your hometown. It is not a desire or a wish, it is absolute knowledge. These sudden changes occur when your double finally breaks through the conscious mind's noise with an urgent message about a critical deviation. People who ignore these impulses frequently report years later that that was the exact moment they should have changed everything. They forced the continuity of a timeline the double had already identified as a path of unnecessary suffering. The seventh sign is the instant and inexplicable recognition of new people and places. You meet someone for the first time but feel as if you have known them forever. The conversation flows as if picking up where you left off. Or you arrive in a city you've never visited and know exactly where each street is. Your double has already interacted with that person's double in other timelines, has already explored that place in parallel realities. The recognition is literal, you are recognizing something already known in another time. These people and places are part of your expanded journey, and the encounter in linear time is merely the consolidation of a connection that already exists. There is a specific moment before sleep when your brain transitions between states of consciousness. It is in this window you must act. Garnier Malet developed a precise protocol that thousands have applied with documented results. The process begins when you lie down but before you fall completely asleep. First, mentally acknowledge the existence of your double, not as an exercise of imagination, but as a fact. Address it mentally: I recognize your existence and your constant work on my behalf. Next, give thanks. Your double works tirelessly. This gratitude is not an empty ritual, it creates a frequency of receptivity. Sincere gratitude opens channels that skepticism keeps closed. Now, the crucial part: formulate your questions. But the way you ask determines the answer. Closed, yes, or no, questions drastically limit the information. Instead of asking, should I accept this job, formulate it as, show me the consequences of accepting this job, or reveal to me the path of greatest growth regarding this opportunity. Lucille Malet documented cases where this change in formulation completely altered the response. A woman repeatedly asked, should I get divorced, and awoke confused. When she changed it to, show me what I need to see about my marriage, she awoke with a deep understanding of patterns she had been repeating since childhood. The solution came not as a binary decision but as a transformation. Sincerity is fundamental. Your double is you. It knows your true intentions. Pretending creates noise. If you are afraid of the answer, admit that fear. Show me what I need to see, even if it is uncomfortable. Paradoxically, admitting the fear dissolves its interference. Keep a dedicated notebook beside your bed. The act of separating a physical object for this purpose signals its importance to your unconscious. Upon waking, before even fully opening your eyes, grab it. The first seconds are crucial, the bridge is still open. Write everything down, especially if it seems absurd. The rational mind immediately tries to filter information, discarding what doesn't fit. But often, the apparently meaningless elements contain the most important information. A man documented a dream of eating blue oranges. Weeks later, a business opportunity arose with a company whose logo was a blue orange, the very opportunity that transformed his financial life. Consistency amplifies the connection. Sporadic practice yields sporadic results. But a daily rhythm fundamentally changes things. Your double perceives your receptivity and increases the information flow. People maintaining this practice for 30 consecutive days report a dramatic qualitative change in clarity. During the day, develop what Garnier Malet calls inner listening. When an intuition arises, pause for 2 seconds. Don't analyze, just acknowledge. This simple act strengthens the channel. It is like tuning a radio, the more you stop at a specific frequency, the clearer the reception becomes. Intermittent fasting dramatically potentiates this connection. When your body isn't processing food, especially 3 hours before sleep, energy is available for subtle brain processes. Tibetan monks have known this for centuries. They do their deepest practices in a state of light fasting. Room temperature matters. Garnier Malet discovered that a 2 degrees drop in body temperature facilitates temporal openings. Sleep in a slightly cool room. This replicates the natural conditions of deep sleep. Avoid bright screens for 1 hour before the protocol. Blue light keeps the brain in a beta state, the frequency of alert consciousness. You need to transition to alpha and then theta. Most importantly, trust the process even when it seems like nothing is happening. Information from the double often arrives in layers, like a photograph slowly developing. An apparent absence of response may be the processing period needed for you to be ready to receive the complete information. Garnier Malet's theory offers a scientific explanation for experiences all of humanity has, but has never fully understood, that feeling of knowing something will happen before it does, the inexplicable impulse that saved your life or changed your destiny. You can choose to see this as a literal description of multiple temporal dimensions or as a sophisticated metaphor for unconscious processes. The practical result remains identical. There is a source of wisdom operating beyond your ordinary consciousness, and you can consciously access this source. When you integrate this, your relationship with decisions changes fundamentally. Instead of agonizing over important choices, you learn to formulate the question, plant the seed in your doubles field, and wait for the answer to emerge. A doctor in Paris documented how she began to diagnose rare conditions with inexplicable precision after applying the protocol. Before sleeping, she would mentally review her patient's symptoms and ask her double to reveal what she was not seeing. Morning after morning, she would wake up with specific insights. Her rate of correct diagnosis in complex cases tripled in 6 months. Navigating through life becomes a completely different process. Instead of constantly reacting, you begin to flow with information that arrives before events. You find yourself in the right place at the right time with surprising frequency. Opportunities arise in perfect synchrony. Obstacles dissolve before becoming problems because you received the advanced warning. This does not require adopting elaborate belief systems. The protocol is straightforward: recognize, ask, listen, think, act. These 5 steps can be implemented by anyone. Your double is working at this exact moment. While you process these words linearly, it is exploring the implications of what you are learning, testing how to apply these concepts in your specific life, and identifying the blocks that prevent your full connection. Your double is processing all of this at an impossible speed, distilling understandings that will arrive in the coming days as spontaneous insights. The most revolutionary part is understanding that you are not discovering something new but recovering a natural capacity that has been suppressed. Young children demonstrate a natural connection. Formal education systematically disconnects this capacity, teaching that only rational, linear thinking is valid. Recovering this connection does not mean abandoning rationality but expanding it. The linear mind remains essential, but now it works in partnership with an infinitely more powerful processing source. It is like going from an isolated computer to one connected to a quantum supercomputer. Every intuition you honor strengthens the channel. Every time you act on a hunch and witness the positive result, confidence grows. It is a virtuous cycle. The more you trust, the clearer the communication. People who consciously embark on this process describe a dramatic acceleration in their personal and professional development. The knowledge that a version of you is navigating potential futures, working tirelessly to optimize your experience, fundamentally changes your relationship with life. Anxiety about the future loses its power. Regrets about the past dissolve. This video did not reach you by accident. Your double has already processed the implications of this knowledge for your life. The resistance or resonance you feel now are indicators of the alignment between your current situation and the information presented. If you made it this far, if these words are creating internal movement, it is because a synchronization is happening between what your double already knows and what your consciousness is ready to integrate. If this video resonated with you, write in the comments, "It made sense to me."